Welcome back to another episode of BT Builds. I am Tim, and if you're new to the channel, we are flipping cars up to a Lamborghini. And in this video, this is car number 2. I bought this car, it didn't run. It was a huge gamble. Stay tuned and we'll go over all the issues with this car. The car that I bought was a 2008 BMW 528 iX. Yep, iX. Now I bought this car on a complete gamble because when I bought the car, plane taking off, when I bought this car, it did not run. Now it was a 100% gamble on it, but I think that there could be a good profit on it, and I only bought it for 1,800 bucks. The other major thing that was wrong with it is there's been a little bit of an accident here. Now on modern day cars, when I went and looked at this car, they have these pyro fuses that are in there, and I thought that that would be the issue with this car, is that the pyro fuse. And let me show you back here what I mean. Right here, when you get into an accident, that pops and it stops it from starting. It makes a disconnect so that it won't communicate with the computer. Now I thought that was the issue with this car, and as you can see, the previous owner did replace it because this cord right here is aftermarket. And actually you can see I have my multimeter tester out here, so I tested that fuse with the multimeter to just make sure I was getting continuity. But I also did notice that when I went and looked at this car, that the power wire is just kind of laying on everything metal. So I thought that it would be a 100% gamble on this car because could have shorted out a computer. Let's just say that it was a very common fix. Fires right up. The issue with the car was actually a very simple fix. Starter went out in it. So how did I figure that out? I figured that out because every once in a great while when you're trying to start this car, that's annoying. So every once in a while when you would go to start the car, you would hear a faint click. Very subtle, very faint. It was hard, and as you could tell right there with that beeping going on, and you're trying to listen for any type of noise, it made it very hard to diagnose. But once I heard that click, my old man was actually over here and he said, let's try the starter. So let me show you where the starter is at, because starter is buried underneath this intake manifold. You can kind of see it maybe back in there, and we tapped on it a couple times and the thing fired right up. It's not the computers, because that could have got really expensive, and then this thing would have been a total waste of a flip. But let's look around the car and see what all needs to be fixed on it for a good flip. These things can bring some big money if I can get the parts the right price, and depending on what's going on underneath here. First thing I know is that obviously the hood's going to be replaced. I did take a pretty good hit up here, but looking in here, it looks like that the frame rails are going to be okay. So hood, bumper, these headlights obviously were pushed back. None of the fenders were destroyed, which is a bonus. Now one thing I did notice was back here, if you see, I'm guessing that something happened to the strut because it is sitting really low. I'll get it on the lift and get underneath there and see what's going on back here, but shouldn't be anything too bad. Pretty great shape. Airbag did go off. Now finding this airbag's kind of been a little bit of a challenge here, but the other bonus of this car is that it does have super low miles. I always look for cars with low miles. They're easier to sell than anything with high miles. But let's take this thing for a test drive so we can see, so I can show you guys how it drives. Put this in reverse. BMW has this weird little parking brake thing that you gotta take off. This car rides really, really smooth. And let's see. It gets up and goes. Let's go. Well, the AC is starting to blow cold, so that's a good thing. Next video, I'm gonna tear apart the front, see how much stuff needs to be replaced in the front end of the car, and get rid of all these lights, the caution lights, engine lights. In the next video, I'm going to tear apart the car. I've already ordered some parts for this car, so hopefully that they show up here soon. Then we can start putting the car back together and get this thing sold, so I can make a really good profit on it. In that note, thanks for watching. This video is over, and peace.